In the golden age of Hollywood, where morality and tradition ruled, a brave wave of filmmakers dared to break all the rules. These movies didn't just entertain, they challenged everything audiences thought they knew about what could be said, shown, or implied on screen. From rebellious teens to taboo relationships, these films pushed the boundaries of censorship, sparking outrage and forcing the film industry to evolve. Some were banned, others sparked riots, but all of them became symbols of the changing tides in American culture. Get ready for a journey through the boldest, most controversial movies of the 1950s. Rebel Without a Cause, 1955. Rebel Without a Cause redefined youth cinema in 1955, with James Dean giving an unforgettable performance as Jim Stark, a teenager grappling with the confusion of adolescence. The film delved into themes of alienation, juvenile delinquency, and dysfunctional families, challenging the idealized post-war image of the American family. Directed by Nicholas Ray, it depicted a world where young people were misunderstood, rebellious, and searching for meaning in a world that seemed to be moving faster than they could keep up. Jim's struggle with his parents, his desire for acceptance, and his tragic fate resonated deeply with audiences, especially the youth, who saw their own fears and frustrations reflected in the film. The film's portrayal of broken families and youth rebellion was groundbreaking for its time, as it tackled issues that were often left unspoken. The rebellious attitude embodied by Dean's performance became symbolic for an entire generation. The movie faced backlash from conservative critics, who believed it glorified delinquency, but its legacy endures. Rebel Without a Cause remains a seminal film in American cinema, shaping the portrayal of youth rebellion in movies for decades. James Dean's iconic role is forever linked to this film, cementing his place in cinematic history. The Wild One, 1953. When The Wild One roared into theaters in 1953, it sparked controversy with Marlon Brando's portrayal of Johnny Strabler, the leader of a motorcycle gang. Brando's iconic image as the brooding, leather-jacketed rebel resonated with a generation seeking to break free from societal norms. The film tells the story of Strabler and his gang terrorizing a small town, spreading chaos and fear. But what made The Wild One truly revolutionary was its portrayal of youth culture, not as idealized and clean-cut, but as defiant and dangerous. Strabler's famous line, "What are you rebelling against?" followed by, "What do you got?" became a symbol of teenage rebellion. The film was banned in several U.S. states, fearing it would inspire delinquency. British authorities went further, banning it for over a decade. However, Brando's naturalistic performance, far from the traditional Hollywood hero, created an archetype for future rebels in films, from James Dean to punk rock. Despite the opposition, The Wild One became a cultural phenomenon, capturing the disillusionment of post-war youth. Its legacy is enormous, influencing everything from fashion to music. The film didn't just break rules, it helped create a new cinematic language for rebellion. The Moon is Blue, 1953. The Moon is Blue arrived in 1953 as a romantic comedy with a subversive edge. Directed by Otto Preminger, the film followed a young woman navigating modern romance, but it shocked audiences with its daring script, which used words that had previously been forbidden in Hollywood films: virgin, seduce, and mistress. At the time, the production code strictly censored any reference to adult themes, but The Moon is Blue boldly defied these boundaries. The Catholic Legion of Decency condemned it, labeling the film as immoral, and several state censor boards banned it. Despite the backlash, Preminger refused to cut the controversial dialogue, and the film was released without the production code seal. The public, however, loved it. Audiences flocked to theaters, drawn to the film's candid exploration of relationships and its sharp, witty dialogue. Critics were divided. Some praised it for its honesty, while others feared it would lead to further breakdowns in morality. The Moon is Blue became a landmark film that helped dismantle the production code. It was a turning point in the fight for cinematic freedom, showing that audiences were ready for more mature and honest portrayals of human relationships, paving the way for more relaxed censorship in Hollywood. The Big Heat, 1953. The Big Heat is a gritty crime thriller directed by Fritz Lang that left an indelible mark on film noir. The film follows Detective Dave Banyan, played by Glenn Ford, as he investigates the murder of his wife, uncovering a vast crime syndicate in the process. What set the film apart was its unflinching portrayal of violence and corruption. In one notorious scene, gangster Lee Marvin throws a pot of scalding coffee into the face of Gloria Graham's character, a moment so shocking it left audiences gasping. The violence in The Big Heat was unlike anything Hollywood had dared to show at the time, making it a controversial film. The production code, which had strict rules about the portrayal of violence, was outraged, with critics accusing Lang of glorifying cruelty. Behind the scenes, Lang fought with studio executives who wanted to tone down the film's dark edge. His refusal to compromise resulted in a masterpiece of moral ambiguity, where even the good guys were tainted by corruption. Despite initial resistance, the film became a landmark of film noir and set the stage for more gritty and realistic crime dramas in the years to come, influencing directors like Martin Scorsese. Peyton Place in 1957. Peyton Place was a 1957 film that shocked audiences by pulling back the curtain on the dark secrets of small-town America. Based on the controversial novel by Grace Metalius, the film exposed hidden affairs, forbidden relationships, and the undercurrent of abuse that lurked beneath the surface of the seemingly perfect New England town. The movie followed the lives of various residents, but its real focus was on the hypocrisy and repressed desires that defined their interactions. Religious groups and censors were outraged, accusing the film of promoting immorality. Some theaters even refused to screen it, but the controversy only fueled its box office success. It became one of the highest-grossing films of the decade, with Lana Turner delivering one of her most acclaimed performances as a tormented mother caught in a web of scandal. Despite being toned down from the book's original raw material, Peyton Place still carried an undeniable weight, and its legacy is powerful. The film not only paved the way for future explorations of dark secrets and forbidden relationships in cinema, but also became a cultural touchstone for its portrayal of the duality of small-town life. Its success led to a long-running TV series that further explored the themes of the film. Some Like It Hot, 1959. Some Like It Hot is one of Hollywood's most enduring comedies, directed by Billy Wilder and starring Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, and Jack Lemmon. The film centers on two men, Joe and Jerry, who witness a mob hit and disguise themselves as women to escape the gangsters. The premise itself was a bold move in 1959, given that cross-dressing was strictly taboo in Hollywood films. But Wilder turned this taboo into a brilliant comedic romp that played with gender roles, attraction, and ambiguity. The film's most famous moment comes when Jack Lemmon's character, after revealing he's a man, tells his fiancée, "Well, nobody's perfect." This punchline, along with the cross-dressing premise, pushed the boundaries of what could be shown in mainstream cinema. Despite protests from religious groups and attempts to censor it, the film became a huge hit. Some Like It Hot not only became a box office success, but also earned 6 Academy Award nominations. Critics hailed it as one of the funniest films ever made, with Monroe giving one of her most memorable performances. The film's legacy is undeniable. It helped mark the death of the production code and ushered in a new era of more liberated, boundary-pushing Hollywood comedies. Blackboard Jungle, 1955. Blackboard Jungle was released in 1955 and immediately ignited controversy with its unflinching portrayal of violence and delinquency in an inner-city classroom. Starring Glenn Ford and Sidney Poitier, the film followed a teacher attempting to manage a class of troubled students in a rough school. The film's gritty, realistic depiction of the challenges faced by educators and the violent behavior of students was a stark contrast to the more sanitized portrayals of school life in previous films. But it wasn't just the story that sparked outrage, it was the music. Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock played over the opening credits, introducing rock and roll to Hollywood films. For many, this marked the beginning of a generational divide. Critics feared the film would incite riots, and they weren't entirely wrong. During screenings, young people reacted to the music by dancing in the aisles, even causing disturbances in theaters. The film was banned in England after violent riots broke out in response to its screenings. However, Blackboard Jungle became a cultural milestone, marking the arrival of rock and roll in mainstream cinema and highlighting the growing divide between generations. It also became a breakthrough film for Sidney Poitier, offering him his first major role. Baby Doll, 1956. Elia Kazan's Baby Doll was a scandal from the moment it hit theaters in 1956. Based on Tennessee Williams' provocative play, it tells the story of a young woman, played by Carol Baker, trapped in a loveless marriage to an older, controlling man. The film's tagline, "She's 19, she's married, she's still a virgin," set the stage for the controversy that followed. The film explored themes of sexual desire and power dynamics in a way that Hollywood had never dared before. The Catholic Legion of Decency immediately condemned it as immoral, and many theaters refused to show it. However, the film's audacity became its strength, and despite the outrage, it earned 4 Academy Award nominations, including one for Baker's performance. Critics were divided. Some praised the film for its daring honesty, while others warned it was a dangerous film that would corrupt American values. Over time, Baby Doll became a cultural touchstone, remembered for its courage in dealing with adult themes that were previously avoided in mainstream cinema. The film helped pave the way for a more liberated, less censored Hollywood in the coming decades, and it's now seen as a groundbreaking exploration of human desire and sexual power. Picnic, 1955. Picnic is a 1955 film directed by Joshua Logan, adapted from William Inge's play, that explored the hidden passions and desires of small-town America. The film centers around a drifter, played by William Holden, whose arrival in a quiet Kansas town disrupts the lives of its residents, particularly the women. The film's most famous moment is when Holden's character dances shirtless with Kim Novak's character, causing a stir in the town and among the audience. For its time, this was a daring depiction of sensuality and longing, which unsettled conservative viewers. The film's portrayal of desire outside of marriage was too much for the censors, who demanded the removal of the passionate scene. Despite the controversy, Picnic became a major hit, earning 2 Academy Awards. The film marked a significant departure from the repressed sexuality typically depicted in Hollywood at the time. Holden's portrayal of the rugged, vulnerable drifter made him a star, and Novak's performance further cemented her status as a leading lady. The film's legacy is that it marked the beginning of a more open exploration of desire in Hollywood, tackling themes that were often suppressed in the 1950s. The 1950s saw some of the most daring cinematic breakthroughs, with films that shattered societal norms and changed the way stories were told. These brave filmmakers proved that art could be a mirror to the struggles and realities of life, and the consequences were powerful. Which one of these rebellious classics left the biggest impact on you? Was it the raw emotions in A Streetcar Named Desire, or the cultural shifts sparked by Some Like It Hot? Share your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more stories about the films that changed the world of cinema.